Hi, I'm Ali.
I'm Herman.
And this is Let's Be Frank, our third episode. We are doing Let's Be Frank about FITFO. And FITFO is the methodology that we use at FiveFriday. I'm going to let Herman explain to you what it means.
Let's first talk about why FITFO.
It's a good starting point.
And then we'll get into it. So we tried many methodologies in terms of determining the best possible way for us to do our projects. And we ran into all sorts of problems with particular methodologies, which led us to a point where we felt we'd be better off doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Is develop a methodology or take parts of methodologies that work for us and use it in a way that allows us to bring out the best in our teams, to give people freedom to work the best possible way that they can.
In order to improve delivery, which is what we're always trying to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And a central theme in terms of FITFO is to encourage excellence or to achieve excellence and not error reduction.
Yeah. It's not simply about avoiding errors in the process. It's
Yes.
you want to be it must be good.
Yes.
Great.
And then also, in Peter Thiel's quote from 0 to 1, where he says that best practices lead to dead ends. The best roads are new and untried, and I truly believe that. So by the time that a best practice becomes mainstream, it's already a few years or at least a few months old. And I believe that best practices serve a purpose, but it's extremely important to question those best practices and adapt and apply whatever works for a particular team, a particular organization, or a particular project.
Yeah.
So highly structured projects follow a methodology. Take what works from a well-known methodology, but adapt it in a way that suits our way of working.
Which is the concept in FITFO of question everything and question whether or not it works, and things that do work, keep them. What do we say? Keep what works, change what doesn't, or adapt what doesn't.
That is so true and very important. I think what some of our people sometimes misunderstand about FITFO is the notion of we have to change everything.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about looking at what works. How can we improve?
Yeah.
If we can't improve, at least not this iteration, then let's keep it the same. But those small incremental changes, I think, is where we find the real value.
Yes. I think small changes can be very significant.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And that holds true not just for the way that we work, but also in our personal lives.
Yeah.
Small incremental change is definitely a good way to make progress. We must also interrogate what we're not doing in terms of processes that we follow or ways that we do things, and introduce what we must add. So it's not about a free for all. It's not about changing wholesale.
Yeah.
It's about we have well-established principles that we know work for us.
Yeah.
Our people are used to that. We get good delivery from that, but constantly trying to improve on that and adapting to the situation.
Yeah.
It's extremely important.
You touched on it in last week's podcast about moving out of your comfort zone bit by bit and getting to a new comfort zone and being able to move out of that one. And that's kind of the same concept, just small changes where they're needed, little bit of change, until we get to, it'll never be a perfect methodology. There'll always be changes happening. That's part of FITFO, is that it's flexible and adaptable, and we can adjust at any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was also one of the traps that people fell into when trying to follow a methodology, is assuming or hoping that a methodology would be perfect.
Yeah, one size fits all.
A one size fits all, and then really racking their brains about making that methodology work.
And slavishly following that methodology without
Absolutely.
questioning why we're doing it, just because that's the methodology and that's what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is so anti-FiveFriday
Yes.
and everything that we stand
Yeah.
for. So when we say question everything, we mean question everything. But we don't expect to change everything.
Yeah.
It's also important in terms of the type of culture that we want to create and that we are busy creating. A leader culture is enabling people to make decisions at the lowest possible level. So we talk about the 3 C's, about clarity, competence, and control. Clarity is about making sure that people are clear about what the objective is.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we're going to provide all the answers.
Yeah.
But the overall objective must be clear.
At least for the next step in the process. I think it also came from a Rich Mulholland thing that clarity doesn't mean knowing the whole thing or seeing the whole picture. It's just what is the next step or the next 2 steps that you need to follow to achieve your goal.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we would like to give as much clarity as possible up front.
Yeah.
If we know exactly what the outcome is.
But things change.
But things change.
Yeah.
And a lot of times projects that we work on, we don't necessarily have that level of clarity or detail in terms of exactly what every single feature is going to look like. But making sure that the clarity is there, and important to understand that clarity is not necessarily something that comes from the top down. Clarity is something that must be established through communication up and down.
There are those podcasts that we're setting up for the future on communication.
Yes. And then in terms of competence, and although we believe that our people are competent, we also firmly believe in continuous learning and improvement. And that's on all levels.
Yeah.
Whether it's a technical proficiency, an opportunity to work in a new tool set, to work in a new industry, to adapt the methodology. So the competence must be there, but understanding that we want people to kind of stay just outside of their comfort zone.
And that it's your responsibility to get that competence. If you feel you don't have it yet, you need to step up and go out and get it.
Really?
Don't you?
Do we? No, obviously I buy into that. And that's one of the things that we're also constantly working to improve, is making sure that people step up and take that initial step in terms of owning up when they feel that they don't have the necessary skills, and identifying where and how they want to improve their skills. And then obviously the last one is the control. We try to allow people to make decisions at the lowest possible level. And that's as important as following a methodology, because people on the ground know what must be done first of all. They know how to effectively do that. And by restricting them in an enforced methodology, I don't think that we get the opportunity to improve as much as we can.
Yeah. And then we're also losing some of that initiative and stepping up and creativity that you can get from people that have got the context and are working in it every single day.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want to encourage the creativity as much as possible. Creativity, I believe, is a slightly misunderstood concept, and I'm sure we'll chat about that at another time. But we want people to bring their initiatives to the table, and to share things that work and share things that don't work for the betterment of the team and efficiency and excellence.
Improved delivery, again, that's the end goal of this, is the best delivery we can give.
Correct. I don't think anybody deliberately tries to work suboptimal.
Yes. So if we're giving that accountability down to the lowest possible level, then those people are going to stand up and take ownership for their work, and that is how we achieve excellence.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned accountability, responsibility.
Yeah. Words that are often confused, and I'm sure we'll have a podcast about that too.
Correct. We can
Yeah.
chat about that.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing here is understanding that freedom comes with responsibility.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that people higher up in the chain of command are going to put their hands up and say, not my responsibility. But it's encouraging people at all levels to take responsibility for what they do themselves, and also assume some kind of responsibility for how the team performs. Because nothing we do in isolation.
Yeah.
We're always part of a team. And that's another thing that we advocate all the time is we want people to hold each other accountable.
Well, we've got it in big and bold in our FITFO methodology white paper, is people across hierarchies, across disciplines, across departments are encouraged or are responsible for holding each other accountable. There's no hierarchical kind of barriers stopping you from telling someone that they're doing something anti-FITFO, or that they could be doing something better. Or
yes, I have to be held accountable. And I want to be held accountable. I appreciate it when people come to me and say to me, I don't think that you handled that in the best way, or what you're trying to implement here is the best way.
Yeah.
But we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And often that's kind of led from the top down.
Yes.
In our case, we're just trying to give direction.
Yeah.
And from there on, we expect everybody to contribute to the process or processes.
We need to encourage that up and down communication.
Yes.
Big part of FITFO.
And the accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you going to tell us what FITFO stands for now that we've gone through that?
Yeah, I'll tell.
Where it came from, or why we decided to call this methodology FITFO, I suppose.
Yeah, so FITFO is a term used in the military, and it stands for figure it the fuck out. It is something which is very appropriate to the military, and life and death situations, and I thought it's pretty appropriate to use that as a term. We're not going to come up with some fancy name for a methodology. But when you find yourself in a life and death situation, then it's really about making sure that you figure it out.
Yeah.
For your own safety, for those of the people around you, and we obviously operate in a much less stressful environment. But I think it's equally important for us to be aware that there are opportunities, and everyone has a contribution to make, to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's something that comes natural to us. So allowing people the opportunity to figure things out for themselves, sharing those experiences and making sure that we improve.
And learning from our mistakes, being able to accept our failures and learn from them and be better the next time. That's a huge concept of FITFO that we're just touching on.
That's a great summary.
Yeah, very good summary. I just want to say one more thing is it being a military term, I think we found in business we actually take a lot of concepts from military ideas. I mean, even a lot of what we used in FITFO came from David Marquez' Turn the Ship Around, which was a naval environment. And we also, what's the one you read recently?
Extreme Ownership. Jocko Willink.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. There's so many lessons to learn from the military.
Yeah. So that's FITFO. Oh, let's be frank about FITFO, our third episode, and we're going to probably expand on a lot of the points that we've just touched on and a few of the other concepts that we use in FITFO. But thank you, and
look forward to it. Thanks.
Cool.